So I wanted to give a little update of what's happening in the greenhouse. You can see it's a rainy day here in Manitou Springs, Colorado. Let's go inside and take a peek at what's growing. So we have some snap peas that we've been harvesting pretty regularly. They seem to be doing really well in the aquaponics. We have this tomato that is still yet to produce, but it's got lots of fruit. Basil and some chard. These lower beds I've actually been using to sprout the seeds, which has been working really well. I've got some pole beans going on up there. You can see in here, wiper are growing and looking pretty happy. And back in here we've got some tilapia, and they are also happy and growing. And then in this tank we have a bunch of perch, and I think they're pretty happy also. Around the back, I haven't really started growing much in these dirt beds. Got some shallots and some rosemary, but eventually I think I'll put some peppers in here and really get some of those hotter plants going. We've got 4 different kinds of tomatoes that are cooking up. And then we have seedlings, which are going to be for sale pretty soon. Some of them are going to go outside, but a lot of them are going to sell them to some local gardeners. And then in the back we have this raft system. Here. The raft is actually working really well. I just recently removed, I used to have 2 pumps in the fish tanks, one that would pump water up into the raft, and then one that would pump separately into this tank. But I've recently built this really awesome, fun radial flow filter that actually the water comes up into this 50-gallon pipe, and then the heavier sediment settles to the bottom, which is basically the fish poop, and then I can drain that off into a hose that I use to water the plants down lower. And then when it gets colder, we also have this rocket stove, which works incredibly well at heating up the air, but also heating the water in this raft system, which circulates down into the fish. Here I've got some newly planted goji berries and some currants, and I've got some grapes down there. This soil is incredibly rich with worms. I also have worms in this grow bed, and the worms basically raising inside of this little worm farm, which works pretty well. And then I take the worm composting. You can see I just recently dumped out. We've got worm composts all over. And let's see if we can find a worm here and show you just how ridiculously fertile this soil is. Typically when I reach my hand down in there, I'll pull up a big handful of worms. Oh, there they are, crawling around. Yeah. You can certainly see the soil in here is full of worms. And so oftentimes I'll just compost, I'll just bury my waste right here in my dirt. And by the way, the fish, well, they pretty much love the worms also. Pretty fun system. Had a vent up there. It's not working much right now, mainly because it's solar operated. It only comes on when the greenhouse hits 80. We also have these ceiling vents that come across, and the air is sucked down into the ground. So these, there's actually lots of airflow underneath the ground that heat up these rocks underneath. And then, like I said, we've also got the rocket stove over there. And we've got these front vents that open up with wax cylinders when it gets especially warm. And then the exhaust coming up out of the earth helps to keep the air circulating underneath the floor. I have a filter on there to catch any spores or anything of that nature. This is what it looks like from the backyard. We've got bees. We've got some newly planted raspberries and gooseberry. This is the outside of the greenhouse. And everything is still pretty much a work in progress. This zone right here is actually going to be where I'm going to start my food forest. So I've been laying down massive amounts of mulch and leaves in this area, and I've got barrels that I transfer water from because it is a bit of a distance. So I transfer water from holding barrels out of the gutters into these lower barrels, and then I can use that water to water the trees as they grow. And then all of that space back in there is also going to be kind of a hillside food forest eventually. This is the upper portion above the greenhouse. You can see it's got 3 beds here. On these beds usually I plant and till in new soil, but this year I'm gonna try and go add some flowers, give this place a little color. So I've also got an outdoor aquaponics system, which is in here, and then also in these tubes that run across, and I've got a filter with water collection system back there. And these are all fed through this exterior fish pond that I have. And these are all predominantly koi. Occasionally I take the smaller fish that reproduce out of here, and I'll feed those to the tilapia, and the perch really like them. And so that's the greenhouse for today. I'll show you more later.